Peace be upon you. This is Miss Manna Khalid, an English teacher at Stafa Language Institute. I'm going to talk about Unit 7, Primary 4, Connect. Our title is This is Where I Live. The first topic I will talk about is the Nile. All of us know that the Nile is the longest river in the world. So the Nile is the longest river in the world. Okay, this is the first important point. The Nile River is home for some reptiles. The first word, reptiles, such as crocodile, and home for birds and fish. So the Nile River is the longest river in the world. Number 2, Nile River is home for reptiles and birds and fish. Number 3, Nile River has two branches. The first branch is Dumyat and the second one is Rashid. So the Nile River has two branches. This is the most important point in our lesson. Nile River is the longest river in the world. Nile River has two branches. Nile River is home for some birds and reptiles and fish. Okay, let's read the words together. Nile, city, oasis, village, desert, river, building, reptile, mountain, crocodile, and forest. Let's answer this question together. Number 1, the Nile is the longest space in the world. Longest sea or river or pool. The longest river. Number 2, the Nile crocodile is a kind of mammal or birds or reptiles. Crocodile is kind of reptiles. Number 3, all villages in Egypt drink space water. Do we drink salt water or dirty water or fresh water? We drink fresh water. Number 4, the Nile has two spaces in Egypt. We said before that the Nile River has two branches. Question number 2, read and fill in the gaps. Number 1, we will number, okay? We will read this passage. The Nile is a space for different kinds of space. Birds and turtles. One of the largest space, the Nile crocodile. Number 1, the Nile is a space for different kinds of. The Nile is space for home for. This is number 1. Home for different kinds of birds and turtles, different kinds of fish. Number 2, one of the largest space, the Nile crocodile. We said before that the crocodile is kind of what? Is kind of reptiles. This is number 3. Okay, let's go to the second lesson. The second lesson talks about how people adapt to the environment they live in. Number one, we need, or all human people need, three important things, or look for three important things. Number one, human people look for climate. Number two, fresh water or water. Number three, the soil or the fertile soil. So human look for three things: climate, water, and soil. We need temperate climate, not hot or not cold. So we need a temperate climate, which is not too cold or not too hot. Number two, the water. Why we need water? احنا ليه محتاج الwater? Number one, to drink. Number two, to grow crops. This is what we need, or why we need water. طيب. Number three, the most important thing also is the soil. We need fertile soil, not only any soil. بنحتاج soil. Why? To grow crops also. يبقى we need fertile soil, which mean very good soil for crops. Okay? طيب. When I see the word adapt, all human people or all the living things adapt to the environment. يبقى number one, climate, temperate climate, which mean not cold or not hot. Temperate. Number two, fertile soil, اللي هي soil. Number three, water to grow crops and to drink. Okay? طيب. Let's focus on this point. We put to before the adjective, which mean very, so I can't do this action. For example, I can't drink that coffee. Why? It's too hot. I can't drink the coffee because it's too hot, or I can't eat this ice cream because it's too cold. So we put to before the adjective. To plus الadjective. To plus a adjective. Okay. Let's answer this exercise together. Choose the first one. There are lots of trees and animals in the forest or desert or sea. Trees and animals. So we choose first. Number two, there is fresh water. We said before, fresh water in the river or sea or ocean. Sea and ocean, salty water, but fresh water in the river. Number three, we can grow in space soil. Salt or sandy soil or fertile soil, which is very good for crops. Number four, the desert climate. A desert climate is very space, hot or cold or warm. We know all that the desert climate is very hot. Okay. Number five, the tea is space hot. I can't drink it. We said before we put too before the adjective, we will choose too hot. Question number two. We will answer it orally. People like a space climate, somewhere that's not too hot and too space. We need a space soil. People like a space climate. We said before, temperate climate. Somewhere that's not too hot and too cold. يبقى temperate equal not too hot or not too cold. We need a space soil, fertile soil, fertile soil. Okay, let's go to lesson number 3. A short story about grandpa. Let's read it quickly. Look, was my street. Grandpa was very excited. We were in the village where he grew up. It's near the closet of Memnon. It was very quiet when I lived here. Now there are lots of visitors from all around the world. That's where my friend lived. We played football on this street. There were no cars then. Grandpa looked right and left and he crossed the road. The road had lots of trucks and cars. And this is where I lived. We looked at the space. There was no house. There was only grass and one big tree. I wonder. It was so many years ago. Grandpa looked at the tree. Grandpa walked to the tree. He looked at the ground, then he started digging, and he pulled out an old metal box. He had a big smile on his face. Look, he was very excited. We were 8 years old when we paid this. Let's sit down and look inside the box. Yes, please, I am very curious. This is the story of the metal box which Grandpa buried under the tree. Let's answer this question and, let's read these words before. Read number 1, excited. Excited. Number 2, wonder. Wonder. Number 3, hurry. Hurry. Number 4, trucks. Trucks. Number 5, digging. Digging. The first question is choose. Number 1. The village was very space where I lived there. The village. We know that the village is very noisy or quiet or soft. The village is very quiet. Be careful when you space the road. Space the road. Repeat after me. Cross the road. Cross the road. Number 3. The road had lots of what? And the cars. The road has lots of trucks and cars. We were 8 years old when we spaced this metal box. We were 8 years old when we spaced this metal box. Parrot or appeared or painted. In this story, the word parrot يعني يدفن. Let's go to the second lesson. The next lesson, which is past simple. We noticed that in this story, or this story happened or took place in the past, and the action happened in the past. So we have two forms of the verb: regular verb and irregular verb. Regular verb we put to the verb ded, ied, and the next one irregular verb which change its forms, that such as am is are becomes was, are becomes were, go becomes went, and so on. Okay, and we have some key words: yesterday, last, ago, in the past. When we see one of these words, so we choose the verb in the past, such as this example: Ali plays football today. Ali played football yesterday. So the word or the verb here in the past form we put ed. And the negative was didn't. But didn't preceded or comes after it base form without any addition, or the verb in the base form. So didn't or did comes or make the verb in the base form without any addition. Let's answer this question together. Number one. Yesterday I spaced to school. I walked or walks. Yesterday I walked to school. Number 2. She spaced the clothes 3 hours ago. Ago we choose washed. Ali space Ali read this story last weekend. Last weekend we choose did. 2 years ago I space in primary 2. I take am or was or where there is ago يبقى يقول I was. Number 5. 2 years ago, number 5. They spaced at the cinema last weekend. Last so they takes where. Did you see the line? No, I didn't. Ali spaced his uncle last month. Last month, so I will choose visited. Lesson number 4, a short story about the village mouse and the city mouse. One day there were two mice which were friends. The city mouse and the village mouse. The city mouse visited the village mouse in the place where he lived. He lived in a hole in a ground and invited him to come to the city, which has many lights and many things which is beautiful. The village mouse agreed and they went to the first train to the city. When they arrived, there were lots of cars and trucks. It was very noisy place. So the city is very noisy place and the village is a quiet place. The city has many cars and trucks, but the village has less than it. Okay? The village mouse was very scared and unhappy. He wanted to come back or return to the village and said I wanted to return to my village, which is very quiet. Okay? Let's read this word. Mouse. Mouse is one mouse. A plural, mice. Delighted equal happy or excited. Happy. Hole. The hole which the mice or a mouse live. Catch the train. Catches a train. Catches a train. Pronunciation. The sound A, gave, and the sound I, my, and the sound E or long E like see, and the sound O like no. Let's answer these questions. Number 1, the mouse usually live space in the ground. We said before that the mouse live in a hole in the ground. Live in a hole in the ground. Number 2, we can space the train at 8. Catch the train. Catch the train. Let's read these words together. Nervous, put on, equal wear, backpack, cry, kind, learn, gate, and nippers. Let's answer this question together. Number 1, cars produce space. There is a lot of pollution. What makes pollution? Perfumes or milk or smoke? We know all that smoke makes pollution. Number 2, I put space my coat. I put on, which equals where? I put my book in the backpack. Number 5, we get in the school through. School has a big gate. The door of the school. That's all for today. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.